Welcome to Functionally Speaking, the podcast where two clinicians share one brain cell and way too many opinions.
I'm Laura, your mineral-obsessed dietitian who gets fired up about gut health, metabolism, and fertility, with enough sass to keep it interesting and enough nuance to keep it real.
And I'm Danielle, a physician assistant obsessed with gut health, hormones, and calling out bullshit.
We're here for the nuance, the hot takes, the facts your certification skipped over, and the occasional spiral into chaos.
If you're a health coach, practitioner, or clinician who's slightly functional, just like our mitochondria in our recording process, you're in the right place.
We're not here to sugarcoat the science or pretend there's one right way to do this work. We're doing it our way, unfiltered, slightly feral, and always with love for the humans we serve. Let's get into it.
Welcome back to Functionally Speaking, the clinical pod that spirals responsibly, sponsored by us, Unconventional Collaborative. If you are a practitioner out there living in your own silo and you're like, what am I going to do for my education for the rest of the year? And I wish I had like 50 other people to give me opinions on this hard case and other crap. And you're just really kind of a self-proclaimed nerd. You belong in our community. So check out the show notes and come join us.
If you have any topics that are burning and you want us to know, unconventional.collaborative@gmail.com, I think is our email. I could be wrong. But you can message either of us on social media. We would love to know because we have an obscene list of things that we want to get through.
So obscene.
But we also want this to be something that's a little more interactive. And like if it's something you want to hear about, especially from our brains, our one brain cell, we'd love to do it. But
Yeah,
I feel
for
like
sure.
this topic today, I think a lot of people are going to be interested in because it is a hot topic right now.
Hot.
Did you ever watch Zoolander?
No.
Oh,
I'm
dang.
the worst person to ask, have you seen this movie? You and Brenna can commiserate.
No, usually I'm the same, but
Oh,
I
really?
watched Zoolander a ton when I was a kid. I don't know why. It's a very weird movie, but he's always like, Hansel, he's so hot right now. Hansel. Anyway, weighted vest.
Such a hot topic. Also, time out before we start. If you are enjoying the podcast and have not given us a rating or a review, please go do that now. It is super helpful. Back to weighted vests. This is something that I have been dying to talk about because I have very unpopular opinions about it compared to, I feel like, the rest of the vast social media out there. And it's making me want to scoop out my eyeballs with a dull kitchen knife.
That is very, very elaborate.
Yes. Weighted vests in the perimenopause population.
I feel like it's once again an example of preying on a vulnerable population, right? Like we see this all the time in certain
demographics.
Thank you. I'm like, what's that word? Like postpartum women, right? We see that. And I feel like perimenopause is really having it, moment. And like you said it, I've said it, is like we love that. We love that women in different seasons of life are giving more tools and education. And of course, that then opens the door to a lot more hacks and, biohacking over the basics and like all these things. And it's like, there's so much nuance and it's always missed on social media because God knows it's got to be one way or the other. It can never be the middle ground of what actually needs to be talked about. So do we even know where this came from? Like who started
Dude,
this?
Probably some dumbass gym bro that like has no education.
Or an MLM hun. I feel like
one of the two.
One of the
two.
It wasn't us.
There's a time and place for weighted vests. And I just don't think that walking is it. First of all, it's sold as like, oh, you're burning so many more calories and this is helping prevent osteoporosis. Ma'ams, no.
There's no research to show that.
No,
by the way.
it's the only thing it's doing is like when you walk with that compression on your spine, it alters your gait. This is why I'm not a fan of it, because when you're walking with 10, 15, 20 pounds, like on you, that's not supposed to naturally be there, it alters the way that you walk and it just opens you up to injury.
It makes me think about pregnancy. When you're pregnant, I mean, granted, the weight is distributed a little bit differently, but like, I can't tell you how many women, myself included, have experienced things like plantar fasciitis because, and I actually had someone reach out to me and say that she got plantar fasciitis because she was doing it using a weighted vest.
Oh, color me shocked.
Yeah, right. And so, right, it's like what we don't know fully what it's doing. And like, this is probably going to get me a little bit of heat, but everyone loves Mary Claire Haver, I think is her name.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate that she has opened up this conversation about perimenopause and menopause. I think that I don't want to completely
agree.
I'm not 100% against her, but like recently she's been showing herself using a weighted vest while deadlifting. The way to make a deadlift harder is to put
Bands,
weight on
chains.
the
Yeah.
bar. Chain. Right,
Bands.
right.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
there are so many other ways, and those who understand lifting and
Yeah.
understand like how lifting helps the body, like know that. And so I think it's just this just like it's just preying on these vulnerable women. And it's once again taking away there's so many women who are scared to lift heavy because they're worried about getting bulky. And we can both promise you, we have been lifting for
Listen,
most
I'm
of our
trying.
lives. Yeah, it takes so
You have
much
to eat
effort
so much
to
food.
get bulky. Yes, it is not as simple as like I'm just gonna put a little bit of weight on.
No, it doesn't work that way. And that's the other thing too, is like, I don't think that I don't know her. I've never spoken to her. I don't know her personally. I don't think that she knows enough about weightlifting and strength training to be, it's kind of the same concept as doctors not having any nutrition education and speaking as an authority on
Well,
that.
she does that too.
Again, I think she's doing a lot of great things for the perimenopause and menopause community. I don't agree. She's very pro IUD and perimenopause, which I am not. I do think that she's done a great job bringing information to the mostly good information to the masses. And also, can we maybe bring a strength and conditioning coach on to just, I don't know if she has a podcast or her Instagram,
Yeah, I don't follow her.
or collaborate with a dietitian or like on an Instagram post about proper strength training. When you have that many followers and you have that much money and resources, like you can bring in people to talk about things that you don't have to be an expert on everything. And I feel like there's so much pressure out there for all, especially physicians, to be an expert on everything, when in reality they get no education about strength and conditioning and lifting weights and or nutrition. And so that is my big beef with it. And also it's being sold as like you can burn more calories doing this too, right? So there was actually a woman who just called into the Mind Pump podcast and talked about this, and they were like, listen, like it's not the bang for the buck that you think that it is, kind of thing. And I just wish we had more people speaking out about that. But I feel like because it's the hot trend, that people don't want to speak out against it. And I do think there's a time and a place for weighted vests, like pull-ups, lunges, or like if your grip is like you're working on getting your grip stronger to hold like for Bulgarian split squats, or an exercise that like you know, like you're holding like 70-pound dumbbell. Like it's hard to hold that, and you want to add some more resistance to your lunge or something like there is a time and a place. Push-ups, not on your daily walk, ladies. I'm sorry.
Well, I think this becomes the problem too. And we understand that our population is probably different than perhaps the general population, but our population tends to be high achieving, type A, busy, burnt out women. So I think it also has to have the nuance of who are you talking to, right? Like most of the women that come to me are working out more than they can probably handle. And that depends, right? It could be a mom who's getting 4 hours of sleep trying to work out 3 times a week, and that's already too much.
Right.
And so, or it could be a woman who's working out 6 days a week, and then on all of her walks, she's also making them weighted walks. It's a stress to the body, just as if adding extra weight to your body, whether pregnant or otherwise, is a stress to the body. And so I think that's where, as a practitioner, we have to really understand that nuance of, is this the only way the person can get some resistance training, which resistance training is just adding weight or resistance, whether it's a band or actual weight. And I think we have to find that nuance. And that's where social media stinks sometimes, because I think a lot of people just think everything is for them and everything they see is something they have to apply. And that's where having a practitioner on board is helpful, because I've said yes to some people and no to some people if I think that weighted vest is a good idea or not. And it's really dependent on their stress load, the current workout that they're doing, and if it even makes sense in their day to day. Like if they're carrying a baby, you don't need a weighted vest, just carry your baby. Like it's not an extra expense or an extra thing you have to worry about or need. And some walks should really just be walks to enjoy and like be able to breathe normally and have a conversation and enjoy nature.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about like the breath compression, right? Because it's like weight on your chest, like
like
changing your fucking breathing.
Correct. Like we're not like 100% anti. I just think the trend it's too much. It's not meant for everybody. I mean, I was on vacation a couple weeks ago, and I think almost everybody out, like not everybody, I would go on a morning run or a morning walk, and like the amount of weighted vests I saw was wild. And I also saw an equal amount of e-bikes. And I was like, how silly that there's a subset of people who are trying to make their walk harder and a subset of people who are trying to make their biking easier. Like, what is it, people? Like, what is it? Why don't we just bike as is? And why don't we just walk as is?
Yeah, e-bikes are huge here. And
Same.
there are some instances where I can understand them. Again,
Nuance.
understand them. But
Yes.
most of the time I'm like, maybe you need to be pedaling a little harder.
Yeah. Like I had a client once who she was using it as she did not have a car and she lived in the city and she used it as a commuting bike. And then she
Great.
also had a regular bike to like train on, but it helped her so that she wasn't also straining herself on
So
her
she was a
commute.
sweaty mess on her like
Yeah, right. That
random
too.
work.
Like,
Yeah.
and I think that, yes, but I think it's once again of like, let's take everything into context and understand here. Like, sometimes we actually don't need to make things harder or easier. We need to just be able to do what the movement is well and do it
Yeah.
often, right? Like, if you're someone who's never walking and now you're going on weighted walks, like, can your body handle that? Probably not. It's like
Yeah.
if you decide to sign up for a marathon tomorrow and go run the marathon tomorrow, you're not ready for that.
Yeah, I think the worry that and concern that I have for it is the false sense of security it's creating around bone health,
Yeah.
because women are already at such an increased risk predisposition for
There you go.
for fractures, right? You know, for low, but there's a reason why we screen women for low bone density, and it's not even in the US that I'm aware of in the guidelines to be screening a DEXA scan on men ever, which we probably should be, right? And women don't start until the age of 65, which in my opinion is way too late. Like I just had my first DEXA scan at 41 and like paid out of pocket for it, of course, because God forbid we do anything preventative in this country, which is a whole other discussion. But I worry that women are like, oh, well, I'm wearing my weighted vest when I walk and I have my ankle weights on, so I don't need to lift weights and I'm not at risk for osteoporosis. Meanwhile, they are Skeletor because they're not building muscle and they've been under eating and all of these other things. So that's also one of the big things for me is that women are replacing it for weightlifting. And yeah,
I think if you are unable to weight lift, fine. But you should, women, we know that the research is there to show that lifting heavy shit gets the work done as far as bone density. We also know that things like jumping and sprinting and like impact can also help with bone density. And that's not saying you should be jumping rope 5 million times a day, but like jumping daily, running, or some type of intensity if your joints can't handle it, lifting heavy, like that's where you should spend your time and allow your walks to just be like hot girl walks, you know?
Actual walks. Yeah, I have a lot of feelings about this. And I would argue that most people can lift weights in a safe way. Throw any injury at it. I do still feel like if someone really wants to do it and they are driven to do it, they are able to lift weights. I feel like there are very few people out there who are truly quote unquote unable, right? Like we were having this conversation in the collaborative. I forget who was posting about it, but they were saying they had a client who had like these back issues and so they couldn't lift heavy. And I'm like, they probably had the back issues because they haven't lifted heavy, like because their back, you know, that they're weak in those areas. And I just think with a trained professional, if the person can afford to work with them, you know, and one of our trainers had chimed in like, yes, like this is definitely something that I can work with type of thing. And I think most people just don't realize that just because they have X, Y, or Z injury, weightlifting can probably help you with that and potentially get you out of that pain or injury that you're in, because most corrective exercise in physical therapy is weightlifting based or resistance training based of some sort. Right. If your physical therapist isn't doing that, you're with the wrong PT. So yeah, this ain't it for me.
No.
This is a thumbs down for me.
Spend your time, money, and effort elsewhere. And honestly, like I feel like the only population I see this work, like I have a client that I'm thinking of who she's a mom. She works a job that requires commuting, and I feel like she spends a lot of time in the car. And right now I think she's 1 year postpartum and she just doesn't have a lot of time. And she asked if it would make sense because she really loves walking. And I said, not every walk, but try a couple walks a week. And if it feels good, it's a good place to start. This should not be the long-term plan, but if you know, I just don't think getting to the gym right now for her or doing a workout for her makes a ton of sense. So that's like, if you need an example of someone who like, I think this is a good plan for her right now, adding a little bit of resistance a couple days a week until she can form a better workout plan. Great.
Yeah. I also think that there's enough people out there who don't feel like they're doing enough already and they're already doing too much. And then they're like, oh my God, I didn't wear my weighted. But it's like, it becomes the first thing that comes to my mind is like, I went over my macros for the day, like kind of mindset and like throw the day away because I went over my macros, like throw the day away because I forgot my weighted vest.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And that is just that's the kind of person that, in my opinion, is mostly drawn to this and doesn't need to be.
Correct.
So if you'd love to give us your opinion on weighted vests, slide into our DMs on Instagram at unconventional.collaborative. And yeah, look out for next week's episode where we're going to be talking about red flags and green flags of clinicians.
Sure are.
I'm really excited for this one.
Me too.
Okay, go rate us and review us. Bye.